Hi, my name is Bowman. I'm the president of Cleveland Consulting, and today I'm going to walk you through our latest product, ccBegin. It's also the first in our line of starter solutions, and I'm excited to show it to you today. So let's dive right in. First, we're looking at the home screen here, and as you can see from the home screen, there are three major areas: contacts, organizations, and invoices. I'll walk you through each of them individually, and let's start with contacts. For contacts, we can click on the New button to create a new contact, Find to find a contact, or click on the icon to dive right into the contacts in general. So let's click that. Now that we're in the contacts screen, you can see there's three major areas below the header. In the header, we have a home button to go back to the home screen, and a place to store a photo. You can drag and drop any photo in here, and it will crop it to this size. We also have the name of the contact and the organization and title that are associated with. Under the contact information area, we have phone numbers and emails. There's a drop-down to add a new phone or an email address, or you can click on one of them to edit it. There's a pencil that shows up as you hover over, and clicking it will throw up a card window to edit that information. You can delete it from here, or just click OK to close it. Below the contact information, we have the addresses. Again, there's a drop-down to add a new address if you want to, or you can just click on the pencil to edit an existing address. All the basic information is there. And to the left of the address, we have a Maps button, which will pull up a Google map of that exact location. Just like the Google Maps button, up under the contact information, we have a Mail button, which will start an email to that person. And we have a button triggered under the Phone button, but you'd have to integrate that with your phone system to get it to work. To the right of the contact information and addresses, we have all the basic details for that contact. We have their first and last name, the organization they're affiliated with, and some other basic fields like title for the header and website. That website drives the web button over here to the far right. You can click that to go to the website, but for our sample data, we're just using a concatenation of their first and last name as a website address. That doesn't actually exist, so we're not going to click that button. And you can assign a staff to that person, and so we have a drop down of the staff in the system right now. The arrow next to organization will jump you over to the organization associated with that contact, which is the same place you'd go if you clicked on the home screen, organizations, and found that organization. As we look to the right on the contact notes, you can click the plus sign, add a new note, information, and save that. You can even choose to notify staff. And as we do a deep dive into contacts, we'll talk about that later. From here, I'm going to go back to the home screen and talk about organizations. Under organizations, you have the same options, new, find, or to dive right in. I'm going to click on the dive right in button. You can see here for organizations, this particular organization doesn't have a phone or email address associated with. So to show users that this is where they would go, we have a add first phone/email button. Once you click that, it pulls up that same add button that we would have if we were to click the drop down and click the plus sign. But I'm going to delete this note, this email. We also have addresses with the same edit and the same Google Maps, and the same basic detail information with a staff assigned and a website for them and the name of the organization. As you can see, since there's no website in here, the open website button is grayed out. We have the same notes that we have under contacts under organizations, and we also have the related contact information. So Owen is the related contact for the Howard Millard Company. If I click on his icon, it will take me to him, and I can go to the organization and click to go back. You can add new contacts if you want to. And we also have invoices for each company or organization. Right now there's no invoices for this organization, but we can go look at those next. From here I'll click to the home screen to go look at the invoices. On the home screen you have, as well as contacts and organizations, you have invoices. In addition to contacts and organizations, you have invoices. Invoices on this home screen is a little different than the other two buttons, so let me talk about it. You have the same new and find and icon to go to it, but in this area we're showing you a simple chart of the invoices for a specific year. In this case, we have some sample data for 2017. So we're showing you the invoices from 2017. These are clickable, and so you can click on that to see a list of the invoices or filter if there's more than one invoice type. But let's dive into the invoices. If we look at the invoice detail, you can see that this is a slightly more complicated screen. We have all the basic invoice information on the left, including its status, its date, and its invoice number. We also have the basic contact information, the organization and contact that this invoice is for, as well as some terms, who the bill to, and contact information is over here. We have the items on the invoices, and these items are just ad hoc invoices. This isn't a robust service-based or product-based invoicing. We don't have time tracking or products because this is built to be easily modifiable by you. We wanted just the basics with nothing you'd need to remove. For each of these invoices, we have a series of statuses. So right now, if I make a new invoice, it's a draft. If I click the Ship button or Send button, it will mark this invoice as sent, and the status changes. I can then choose to say that I've received that payment, and if I say yes, then that status gets switched to paid. I can also choose to print the invoice, which will pull up a preview of the invoice that you can print or save to PDF, whatever you'd like to do. But I'll just close this for now. With these statuses, if you need to roll it back, you can click on the status button and mark it as not paid, or mark it as not sent as well if you want to. We also have some basic shipping information with some very simple shipping tracking, what method you've used, the date, things like that, and a similar notes module like we have under organizations and contacts. Let's jump back to the home screen and look at some of the basic settings in the overall system now. From the home screen, up in the top right-hand corner, we have two icons that you may have noticed. The first is a drop-down menu, which shows you all those same three systems I've shown you already, organizations, contacts, and invoices, as well as our staff and a time clock screen. So let's look at staff now. If I click staff from the drop-down list, you can see we have a list of the staff that's in this system. Right now, just 3 basic users come with the demo data: Sally Developer, John Doe, and Demo User. I'm logged in as Sally Developer, so let's go look at her. We have some basic detail information: name, email address, phone, and employee number. We have some FileMaker account information so you can manage your FileMaker accounts in maybe a slightly more intuitive method than FileMaker's managed security. This way you can give this functionality to a system administrator who doesn't necessarily need development access. We also have a timesheet, and we'll look at this. I created a sample time record here so there'd be data, but let's see how this data got in here, and let's go look at the time clock. If we go to the home screen, we click on the drop-down, you can see we have a time clock admin area. If I click on this, this will let you browse the clock in and clock out records of all the users in your system, and also let you start time clock mode. Time clock mode is a simple way to allow users to clock in and clock out from a standalone terminal. These buttons work so you can use it on an iPad. So if we remember, Sally's employee number was 1, 2, 3, 4. If I click enter, this now lets me clock her in, and then we go back to the screen. If I click 1, 2, 3, 4 again, we can see that she's clocked in, and I can either start a break, choose not to do anything, I could have just checked my status, or clock her out. From here, if you want to go back to the home screen, you simply click the lock in the upper left-hand corner, type in the unlock code, which in the demo data is just unlock, and it will return you to the screen you were on. From here, I'll go back to the home screen and talk a little bit about the main menu. On the main menu, in addition to the drop-down menu, there is also a sprocket to manage some of the system settings. While this deserves its whole own video, let me go over it briefly. From the System Settings menu, there's another Start Time Clock mode. There's a place to change the Google Maps API key to your own API key, to change how notifications work, and to change your basic company information. Also on the settings screen is a little wrench that takes you to some more detailed settings information. There's a test mode that you can use in your development, an Edit Menu button that lets you edit that drop-down menu that we looked at a minute ago, a view of the system error log, and some system settings that are a little more complicated than these basic settings. Let's look at those now. Under the System Developer settings, there's the system name, the icon, another look at the Google Maps API key, changing the stock chart year for the chart under Invoices on the home screen, some notification updates, and the email settings for sending emails directly from your SMTP server if you want to send emails directly on note notifications. There's also a tab for the global settings, as well as a place to change that unlock password, and some other tabs dealing with the JavaScript and CSS that lie under the hood, but those are a little too complicated for this video. From here, let's close out all these settings and go back to the home screen. One last thing I want to point out on the home screen is some of the versatility. We've been looking at this home screen, but ccBegin actually ships with a number of home screen looks that you can use. One that's a little bit more pictorial, and one that's got a little wider chart if you want, with a drop-down to make that chart more dynamic. There's a number of home screen looks, and I encourage you to take a look at them and choose the one that you'd like for your deployment. I appreciate you looking at this system with me. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video. If you have any questions, please leave a comment below or send an email to ccBegin@clevelandconsulting.com. Thanks for your time.